Okay, we're here. Hi, my name is Paris. I'm 23 years old, born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I love God. Jesus, to be exact. So, on December 7th, 2024, I did a Bible study on Proverbs 31, and I really wanted to learn what it was to become a wife, what it was to become a woman of God. And although I am not married, I want to be one day. So, I was just looking and searching through scripture. And when I read Proverbs 31, verse 10, it says, "A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies." That verse stuck out to me a lot, to the point where I read the rest, but I went straight back to verse 10 and pretty much stayed on that for a long time. A lot of the times, especially in this culture, we talk about worth and we measure worth in a arrogant way. There's with social media, with Instagram culture, with TikTok culture, and all of those things, we dress up as girls, we put makeup on, we get our hair done, we do all the things to show off. We do all the things to get the likes. And even though there's a lot of women who say, oh, I don't care about likes, I don't care about attention, a lot of the stuff that women do is for attention, let's be honest. And it's to show off beauty, it's to show off confidence. And it's so crazy because we live in such a hyper confident society that it's now transformed into arrogance, and it's transformed into being conceited, and it's transformed into being a lover of self. And if you've ever read 2 Timothy, I believe, or it's 1 Timothy, it's one of the Timothys, it talks about how in the last days people will be lovers of selves. And God is saying love yourself, but not be obsessed with yourself. And a lot of the times we live in this society where we talk to each other with such an arrogant tone to it. It's like, yeah, I'm top 2, not number 2. Like, that's if you're from Philly, I don't know if this is just a Philly type caption or if it's other, in other cities or whatever, but like, that's a caption that I've seen a whole lot. And I'm not coming at anybody who's had that caption. So don't feel offended. But that's the arrogance that we picked up. We've been so self-centered. We focus so much on how we look. We focus so much on how we present ourselves to other people. We never want to get caught slacking. We never want to get caught with our natural hair. We never want to get caught with bumps on our face. And you know what I mean? Like imperfections that we have, even though all of us have them. So when I read that scripture that talks about how a wife of noble character is worth far more than rubies, it just sort of brought me back to a space where, even though I'm not a wife yet, I was able to recognize, like, God holds me in high esteem, and he looks at me in high esteem, and he values me a whole lot. I think when it comes to value and how women value themselves, it doesn't really align, majority of the women, doesn't always align with how the Lord values us and how we should look at ourselves as women of integrity and women of Christ. I don't know if I'm making sense. In my head I am, so. But I just wanted to get on video, and whoever's watching this, whether you're old, young, married, unmarried, single, in a relationship, engaged, whatever, I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions. I love journaling. So, I'm always going to try to provide a journaling prompt because I think it's important to reflect. It's important to think and assess a lot of things about yourself, to get to know yourself a little bit more, but also to provide yourself with the opportunity to find things to correct. We are quick to be like, oh, I'm perfect, I'm this, I'm that, and that person's wrong, this person did that, this person, this and that. We love to point fingers, but we never like to point it to ourselves. So I think journaling provides me, and it could provide you with the opportunity to actually point the finger to yourself and be like, what is it about me that I could change? What is it about me that needs to die. And so, yeah. So I have a question. My first question is, how can you be a timeless gem? Why does this question come up? Because it talks about rubies, and well, verse 10 talks about rubies. And if you know anything about a ruby, it's a gemstone. A gemstone is timeless. A gemstone never loses its value. It never loses like its sparkle, its shine. When you think of a ruby, you think of like diamonds and pearls. And from the time that this scripture was written all the way until now, when we see a ruby, we recognize that's a special thing. That's something that's worth a lot. That's something that isn't to be played with. And so I want to ask you, as a woman, as a Christian woman, what is it about you? What qualities do you have that are timeless? And on the flip side, this is question number 2. On the flip side, what parts of you are a part of a fast-paced culture that will not exist in 20 years? What parts of you do you need to let go? What parts of you will actually harm you instead of hurt you? What parts of you will stop you from being timeless? So that wasn't just 2 questions. That was like, a 5-part question, but I want you to think and reflect on that. So that's all I got today. Not here to talk a lot, but I just want you to reflect as a woman, and I want you to write these things down. So I will be journaling. I will be sharing with you guys my answers in the next video. And I would love to hear what you guys have to say after you've thought this through. So I encourage you all to meditate on Proverbs 31, verse 10, and do some digging. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Why y'all didn't tell me that my puffs was like slanted and uneven? I could have put this one up a little bit more, pushed this one down a little bit more. Y'all ain't have to like let me look crazy like that. But that's okay. That's okay. My hair gonna be done in the next video. Don't worry.